All right, buckle up. Rough roads ahead. Here we go again. So I'm in my vehicle trying to get it working here, and somehow they took my tablet's internet out. So I had to get on something else. Rainy day here. A very rainy day. So I have my Lav 2 with my IO 24, which was acting funky, but now it's kind of settled down. I don't have the capability without the Windows to operate it. I probably should have bought my Surface Pro and would have solved a lot more of that problem. But it's whatever. So I got to figure. I don't have to figure out who the knocker is, but I think I kind of figured it out by default. Looks like it might be an employee. Now I'm not telling you the boss man doesn't know about it, but the boss man wasn't here today, so I know it's not the boss man. Well, I got a couple gotchas from somebody that I tried asking. I said, "Is that room occupied? Is somebody strange up there?" I said, "They keep knocking." I said, I can tell they're doing it lightly, and I can hear their footsteps when they try to move away from it. What they're trying to do is all sorts of weird stuff. One side of the room, the other side of the room. You walk into the bathroom, start tweeting from the bathroom, and they're there. And what they'll say, maybe if it's somebody that's staying there that's trying to hide from me, they'll just say, "Oh, he's making noise," and I try to quiet him down or something like that, or that they weren't doing it. So again, that's part of the trick to the thing. And again, it's called gaslighting, but it's at a higher level. It's a psychological murder. Regardless of whether it's somebody on the street, what happens is the spycraft operators put this into motion, and they're in government and outside government. Doesn't matter where they work. They'll put somebody into it, and like a group of people, they could be like 5 people removed and have some organization do it. That makes it easy for the FBI when they do it that way, because the FBI doesn't have to lie too hard. Like the FBI investigates with blinders on. DHS does the same thing. State and local police do the same thing. So they're not going to go and find the spy. So meanwhile, you're sitting home reading newspaper about people. What's going on? It must be all the liberals and bail reform. It's actually your police officers, intelligence officers, rich people, the beast. It took over the planet, and you all worshipped it. Several names to include Trump. Trump's not the son of perdition, no. That's the part. A lot of people get it wrong as who the beast is, who the antichrists are. The big one that comes is called the son of perdition. That's when it really goes down. So again, we're not waiting for the arrival of the antichrist. They're here. They're everywhere. They're in churches. They're in synagogues. They're in government. They're in homeless. But not really fix it. So what happens is when they take over charity, there's people that won't get anything. And they'll tell you that it's a pedophile, it's a criminal, it's a mentally unbalanced person. They'll tell you all sorts of things. So when you get into a homeless scenario, there's somebody that's going to be there that's going to be either psychologically unbalanced themselves, which means spies are witches. Some of the cops are witches, some of the then they go to the next step and they start moving the spycraft. So when somebody goes into a homeless place, it's already set up. The person's either useless in that position because they worship devils, or they're in on it. So there's no real. It's. Everybody thinks, oh well, we're doing charity here in the church. Yeah, but your minds are devils. And when they do that generally with politics, I mean, yeah, religion does the same thing politics does. You have your favorite person that you hate, and you can't stand for them to not be what you think they are. That's where most people are. So you project this idea that anybody that's gay is a child molester. Anybody that you don't like that helps children is actually a child molester. And you'll prove it and spend 40 years doing that by altering the person. So we have people in prison. We have kids that are dead because cops, intelligence people, mayors, even in some locations, they've decided that that's the way that you handle the world and the way you get famous and you show these people that you're in charge and whatever else their fantasy is. And that's actually, hey, Wichita sign. Which way? The which way? Education for the modern witch. That's what all that is. It's not investigative science. It's nothing that really. Could you use it for investigation? Look, I could sit in my room and I can investigate a crime, especially if you weren't cursing me. So again, you're all not that talented to begin with. So again, using something to investigate is whatever. So what do? They prop up those tools. They say they're the best in the nation. That's what we need to do. These people are the best in the nation. This is who we need to use. And it's all a lie. Oh, we knew government was an lie. No, it's much worse than that. Remember, I spent a long period of time healing the nation, and they kept killing me for healing the nation. Fact is, there's black people that are in this thing, and they were taking me out in some communities, same thing. They don't tell me it's something different, same thing, for healing black people. Because they were cursing black people to go to prison. Well, why would we do that? Of course, then we go back to the thought that that person's a pedophile or a mentally unbalanced person or some sex fiend. So again, their thoughts are continually evil. They would call evil good and good evil. I don't care if somebody was a lifelong criminal. You're not to move them to the next crime. It's just not to happen. It's not legal. It's darn right evil, and it's forbidden in the Bible. So if you're a Christian, no, God doesn't forgive that. That's the people that are going to go to hell and that Jesus can't save. So Jesus always asked me to re-explain this. Jesus told you he wasn't the Father. The one that sent is not the one that sends. He told you that. I want to go one step further earlier. I guess it's further because it happened afterwards. Remember, look at that Bible. And this one, this is just kind of a revelation. You don't have all the books. All the books don't even exist. Who do you think decided what would make it through? Because remember, the Christians are already the Antichrist. Correct. Somebody said Antichrist. The Antichrist decided what books would remain. And I'm not telling you it's in the King, you look at the King James Version Bible, and that's what the Antichrist wanted. Because we might have some in there extra, which I think we do. So what they decided was they would not let you know certain things. Because by only giving certain teachings, to let them do whatever they want to you and anyone else and manipulate you. And they did, and they did. But yet the Bible is structured enough to know what's happening. If you don't have certain spiritual deficiencies, certain psychological deficiencies. Beyond actually that, but that would push you into that. You wouldn't be able to look at things neutrally and figure out what's going on. So we know that we didn't get the full scripture. And we know that they will call evil good and good evil and Good evil and evil good. It goes round and round. And we know they would appear. Here's where the church gets it wrong. The church believes that they're actually sinning, like physically sinning. It doesn't say that. That's something that the church put in there. Okay, what's going on? I'm going to bring this up too. Your minds are receiving from all the dummies and angry people and all the haters that have previously held that Bible and preached it in that manner. So you're receiving something while you're reading. So in your mind, you're receiving the evil good thing all the time. They call evil good, good evil. In the Bible, the basic idea is to understand what group of people. Again, when we say respective of persons, that doesn't mean that people aren't living a certain journey on earth, which means if certain things happen in a person's life, if devils are around a person, then they could be cursed to be a sinner. But then that sin is not in their account. So if we get to the level of them being spiritually blind, then it's all bets are off. Nothing's held against them. And like I said, I've received some pretty strong inferences. So again, there's a lot of evil here, but definitely the grace is pushing through. Bitter herb. Maror in Hebrew is bitter herb. This road is called bitter herb. Kind of a wet day out. Gotta get some food. Come out of the cave. The prophet came out. What you gonna say? So the church is completely off to begin with. So that allows people like Trump to come along and deceive you. So, low Christ is here, low Christ is not there. Low Satan is here, low Satan is not there. Actually, the best place to be is outside the church. I don't know if Jesus ever really wanted the church to be that. Again, the early church had the leeway to do greater works and to alter things because, greater works shall you do. But what happens is it's kind of like politics, where George Washington says he didn't believe in political parties because they'll own the system and, not even supposed to be there to begin with because they're not believing in that equality of ascension. Everybody has the right to ascend, but then they control it. So again, we have the same thing happening in the church. I don't think Jesus wanted some place where they can own it. That was his point. Jesus is rather anti-establishment. He doesn't believe in law enforcement because he knows why. This is the real reason why, again, we have to have law enforcement because the church isn't real, religions aren't real, because you can heal all of it. This is what happened. Remember back when there was very little crime and things like that? Everybody healed the community. So again, that's what's missing. And that was one of my early moves to heal the community. So I was telling you that I was healing the community. I was going through that. And it was obvious that they were angry at me for healing the community. And that everybody was recursing the community. So again, off of that, a lot of knowledge came based on what's in the Bible and, maybe Dead Sea Scrolls. I kind of balanced the other religions off of it just to see where we are. If you understand the Bible, the other religions don't insult the Bible's theories. The only thing is it might have a different idea of God and Jesus, but yet at a certain point, Jesus is not the one that's sent. or the one that sends. He's the one that sent. So the one that sends is preeminent. And the one that sends is the Father. And the Father is going to kill all of you in hell. I think a lot of you get confused on how it works. That's the one thing Jesus wishes it could have got through, that the Father is different than Jesus. The Son is in the Father is in the Son, but that's an indwelling. So again, I did my best to help you all understand the Father, but I guess you don't want to hear it because you think the Father's talking to all of you, telling you to do what you're doing to me and everyone else. So again, it's very hard to be in law enforcement and really be with Jesus, especially today. I mean, sting operations are insane, and they're run by devils. They'll tell you that they have to do that to keep the community safe. First off, they're cursing the community. Second off, they're running psychological operations to force crime into victims' lives. Sometimes they're getting paid for that by external people. Sometimes they're being promoted by their boss for doing that. Sometimes they're being promised an FBI position because they're a state cop or something like that does that. So again, them telling you what needs to get done inside your community to give them this intrusion and this ability to harm people violates the Bible, but it also is nonsense. They're the ones that are causing the trouble to begin with. So when we go back to, I get my answers over time, and sometimes they clarify. I was wondering about why black people engage in so much crime and why the guns and all of that. It's that they're being cursed higher than everyone else. And the officers are using psychological methods they know will affect those people and cause them to commit crimes and or be sick. So the outcomes, and Native Americans to a certain degree, but you have your own issues too, and so does the black community. You have your own people that are doing it also. So I don't want to get too deep into that. And I'll speak about Native Americans at another time, but right now I'm going to speak about black Americans. So they're being cursed, but they're also being psychologically operated. The officers reveal a lot of what they're doing, the intelligence people, the private eyes. They'll tell you that they have to keep an eye on me, and they just keep coming back. But based upon an investigation of what they're doing, it's very easy to identify. And then looking in the news at people that are arrested and things like that, it's very easy to realize that they developed a program. They won't give up not because they're dogged investigators, because they're mean. And when they came on, they were, 20, 30 years old, between 20 and 30 somewhere, most people. And when they were there, they were with older employees, older investigators, whatever. And there was somebody that was 60 years old that had been operated since maybe they were 25 or 40 or 35, whatever it is. They operated them about another year, and the person offended. So they know the outcomes. They see the 70-year-old guy, knowing they didn't commit the crime all those years, and they were able to push them into it at a certain age. So the whole thing is built upon a spycraft desire to cause a victim to commit pedophilia, to commit rape, to commit murder. And they're responsible for those deaths and those rapes that were happening. Omar Mateen, the Pulse nightclub shooter, Christians fantasize. I can hear them all day long. Fantasize. That was God's judgment on the fags. I mean, if you're gay, no offense, intended. That's how they are. That's what they say, and that's what they think. They created Omar Mateen. Now the FBI said, well, we hadn't investigated him in 10 months or something like that. Well, the damage was done. But when the FBI leaves, the local police, the state police, the private investigators, the bosses in Walmart and Kmart are still operating that person. It never stops. They're lying. And then after they operate in a certain period of time and they don't commit a crime, the FBI comes back and operates the person again. That's true for state police, true for local police. No, I wouldn't call it a cabal. That's some political stupid term. They work for the beast, and the beast is here. That's one of the reasons why black people have more crime in their lives than white people. And I have to go here and shop. So stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.